agenda. What's up for today? Who's there?
My friend Sipka, is he here?
Sipka's here. Nick's not here.
Hey, Elon.
Nick's been missing a lot recently.
What's
Piotr
up?
Hi, everyone.
was late. Sipka demo today or not?
No, Demo made some minor changes, but basically we're almost there. I submit a pull request. Nothing much to show.
I still need to give you some feedback.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have some things in mind. So, do we have demos? We'll see with the status. So, 7.2.1.8 status. Anyone has any demo? It will be a short one then. What was Ilan? I had the conference on the agenda. If you want to talk about it. I think last week we forgot. I think
that was my cryptic message where you're like, I do not understand you.
Okay. So I put it on my list. Our topic today, should we leave Outer Curve Foundation?
I think that would be a terrible idea.
Just seeing if you are listening.
Did you really just say that? Wow. Eric, I'm glad you're here to save the day.
That's what I'm here for, really. No other purpose.
Okay. So let's start.
Here's another one to put on the agenda. How can Outer Curve help us more? That's a good topic.
By doing something.
No, that's important, right, Eric?
Yeah, definitely. I'm very happy to learn how we can do better and help you folks out.
Okay. Okay. Let's start with the status of work. Sharing my window. Sharing. Make some noise when you can see my screen.
Okay, I got it.
Monday. Okay, I don't think I've talked about this one. So let's start with this one. Daniel is not online, updated the Azure SDK support to 2.2. It was released on Monday, updated instantaneously, which supports, well, at that time it's just supported cloud service debugging. So once you're in an Azure cloud service solution, you can debug your live cloud service environment. And since I think yesterday, you can also with the same SDK debug your website, Azure websites directly from Visual Studio. So this is interesting. So you launch on Shard, you publish it on Azure websites, and you can debug remotely your Azure websites. Then a lot of commits on the Shift branch, but I will talk about it after. If I jump, where am I? Okay, here. A bunch of fixes. This one from Sipka directly, okay. Fixing media profiles cache, fixing timer activity expiration, and Piotr also added the ability to use wrappers as shapes. So now wrappers are shapes. And from my small tests, it doesn't break anything anymore. So that's good. There's not so much usages of that right now, but we'll find some. and it also didn't impact the performance.
Yeah, there are
Okay.
scenarios you can change the wrapper for widgets depending on the type of widget, for example.
So, yeah, when I say there is not much usages right now, there is no alternates assigned to the wrappers.
Oh, the alternates don't work.
Yes, they work, but there is not any alternate given to those wrapper. Not it's brand new. So yeah.
In the vanilla orchard instance, there is just no, it's not used.
So should the shape table providers actually add the alternates both on the shape and on the wrapper?
That's a fair point.
That's not how it's done, because when you add an alternate, you say shape.alternate.add, and wrapper is another shape, so you will have to say shape.
But when we add alternates to shapes in the core, should we also add the same alternates?
We can do that because the alternate name is the full shape type. So and the wrapper itself has another shape type. So you can convert one to the other. It's not just adding a shape.
I'm not talking about converting them. I'm talking about doing this automatically. I'm talking about when you have the code that adds the alternates to the shape, it also does the same work on the wrapper.
So you need don't copy the alternates. You mean change the current code to add to both wrappers and alternate.
Yes.
But if it has an alternate, if it has a wrapper.
Yeah. So Bertrand, what you mean is that we should have just the same as we have for the core shape. We should have the same alternates for all the wrappers that are on on that. Yeah.
Yes, but I would start with the URL alternate and widget alternate features that are full-blown features that are there only for the purpose of adding alternates, and I would add to those features so that least surprise. People are going to be surprised that they have that list of alternates on their shapes and not on the wrappers. So.
Yeah, because right now the wrapper, for example, let's say that's widget.wrapper shape. It's a normal shape, so you can use the iShape table provider to provide different alternates for that particular wrapper. So so you can still have a widget wrapper on the widget without not changing everything, but add just alternates for the widget wrapper shape, and that will work.
That makes sense for everyone.
I know.
Because I didn't get it, so I assume nobody got it. So okay, good luck with the wrapper alternates. Surprise me. Don't push it. Surprise me, Bertrand.
No.
Okay, so I won't be surprised. So this is everything for 1.7x, because I mostly worked on the shift. It was scratching me, so I worked on that. So I take every part almost in the core distribution and looked at how it could be shifted. There are 2-3 ways of shifting, 2 different levels of shift. This one is the most dramatic one, which is actually moving all the data from the records to the part itself and then deleting the record. So it's deleting the table. So even during a new setup, there are lots of tables which are no more created. So I treated it's like so on a default setup now with a core distribution, there are 17 tables which are removed, which means potentially 17 tables that won't be queried anymore. Most of them are for parts, because we never know when a record was used to be queried. For site settings, it's obvious. Well, I mean, most of them for site settings part, because there is only one site content item, which means when we load it, we just say load the only site content type. So there is no need to query on the records. So those records are removed. So an example with the site settings changes that had to be shifted. That's a big one. Let's see a simpler one. Okay, this one. So theme site settings part. What happens here is that on you didn't see that. For instance, if we start with the part themes, let's start with the record. So remove the record, delete it. Okay, and it has one property, the current theme name. Now, if we go to the part, it was a content part of theme site settings part record. Now it's just a content part of nothing. And you see at some point, is it still that? No, it has been changed. Oh, I should take another one then. Because in the meantime, I took Bertrand's update. Let me see this one. Yes, okay. So let's take with this one. So the record is gone, and the part itself, each property which was actually proxying the record property is now using this dot retrieve and the lambda on the property, and this lambda is on this property itself. So it's pointing to itself just to be able to retrieve the field name based on the static property and also the type, which means at compile time it will work. And when you call this.store, it's using the same lambda but with a value. So it's just a simple refactoring. Instead of having record.public key, you have retrieve x.public key and so on and so forth. This is one version of the retrieve method. This one is actually saving the content directly to the part info set. Okay, it's not using any record, and it's hard. It's a hard change, which means the data which was in the record is not in the part. Okay, so we need a migration to move all the data from previous records to the current parts, and I will show you the migration. So when you use this.retrieve, it's a hard migration, and when you use retrieve only, not with this, it will only work if it's a content part of a record. So it's a lightweight migration. It's just for reading, you will use the part, and for storing, you will use the record and the part. And in case there is nothing when you read into the info set, inside the info set, then it will read from the record and put it in the info set. So it's a smart upgrade. I think it's explained on Bertrand's blog. But again, you just have to change this for everything and not delete the record this time. And you can optionally handle the migration. So the changes are very simple. For this one in particular, the reCAPTCHA settings part, so it's deleted the record. It uses the hard setters and getters, which will just read in the part, no more record. And there is some specific code that I added into the upgrade module for 1.8, which is, what it does is it looks at the current table, okay, the reCAPTCHA settings part record, and it will load each record. There is only one actually. It will get the current site and say, and call directly the set with the name of the part and the name of the field. This thing is what happens behind the hood when you use this.retrieve or this.store. This way is just a way to have it using strongly typed fields. In the migration, we don't want to link to this thing, so it's just not strongly typed. It's loosely typed. And here I read the record and I save it to the part directly. And then when the upgrade is done, I delete the record. So this is for migration for a 1.7 to a 1.8. It's just moving the record settings, the settings record to the part and deleting the record. And it's doing that for like 10 settings part records. Okay. And then after the next step of the migration of the upgrade is to remove any usage of the record, like in the views or in the services, to just use the part directly. So here, for instance, and this is the same work for other parts. And the handler, also the handler was using a template filter for record, and now it's using template filter for part. This filter is just to render automatically an editor without having to do a driver for part settings. Okay, so this is very simple. And this is done for all the, you see, record suppressed. The part is using now, maybe not this one. Weird. Okay, I have to check that. Same thing, record suppressed, part migrated. Okay, migration updated so that when you install, if you installed 1.8, if you were to install 1.8 directly, it will not create the table anymore. So one table. So same thing for everything, every settings. Then some again optimization for some other parts like the blog post and blog part. You see same thing, but this time it's not a this.retrieve, it's just retrieve directly, which will look into the record if there is no data. Okay, it's like, oh, there is no data yet in the info set. Let's look into the record because I know there is a record. And the next time it will just look into the part itself because the record has already been read, so it should be there. And there is no migration for this one. Not for this one. Oh, by the way, in the services, you will see that when I use the parts, I remove the query hints. The query hints were there to be able to optimize the loading by doing left outer joins on the records we knew that were there. Now they are explicitly removed because we know that the data will be read into from the parts themselves. So we don't need the records. So it's an optimization not to preload the records now. But again, every case is specific and has to be thought about. It's not just, oh, that there is a generic rule to apply. No, you have to think about what's happening behind the scene and make it correct. Content item parts, for instance, have been moved. So for instance, content permissions part is never queried, so we can remove the record. Okay, and everything is a hard retrieve from the part itself. And in the upgrade module, it's just same thing, migrating all the data from the records to the part and deleting the record. I will show you an example right after. So done, same thing for widgets, optimized, layers optimized, menu items, taxonomies, cache settings, comment part settings, message settings, search settings, registration settings, SMTP setting, warm-up setting, unit test broken, fixed, media parts also, and fixing a select all query. Okay, so with that, let me switch then to this branch to show you what it looks like. I will also enable mini profiler here. Reload everything. Are there any questions I missed? No? Okay, link to Bertrand's blog. So I actually have a 17x website running already. So by loading the 1.x branch, it's like I will do an upgrade. So I will show you how it works. If you want to upgrade, there are still some things to optimize, like the number of buttons you will see, but it's simple to do. Just waiting for it to load. Okay, loaded. I rebuild. If people are asking questions about why we moved to DocumentDB, it's to have less queries. If people, well, DocumentDB, if people say, oh, you are using MongoDB or whatever other NoSQL database, you say, no, we still use SQL. Why? Two reasons. Again, transactions, those NoSQL databases don't handle transactions, which is necessary for Orchard. Second reason is that everyone loves SQL.
RavenDB does support transactions.
That's actually a discussion point. Have you seen this article?
Yeah, it depends what level of transaction you want.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So RavenDB handles transaction, but it's not free. We can't dismiss it. What? Maybe some files locked.
Especially, would it be possible, for example, to in the future have an extension point so we could replace where the InfoSet data is actually stored, like move it to DocumentDB instead of an XML or something? And just thinking loud, it would be a good idea. Have some storage provider. So we still will have SQL, but maybe
Don't think too loud. Don't think too loud. Keep your ideas for yourself. So what would be necessary to do to have that? You can already do that because the InfoSet storage. Oh no, you can do that. Well, I don't see what will be good for, because you will still need a SQL database, and you will have some portions of it in another NoSQL database. It will not be faster because you will still have to load the content item and content item version, but you will, on top of that, have to do a request to your NoSQL provider. So it just can be slower, harder to, for political reasons, maybe to, I don't know. That's useless. So the only thing you could do is rewrite Orchard to use something else than SQL. It's built, so now I can just run it. So it's already installed on 1.7.1, which means it should be you should see actually the migration step from 1.7.1 to, or 1.7.2 to 1.8. So let's hope it works. Yes, no, it doesn't work. Yes, that's the, okay.
Yeah, I know that.
I forgot.
It's not migrating.
Forgot about it.
And
so
your site owner?
No, because I never do that. So you see, I can't access the admin because I'm not crap. Okay, let's imagine I will create a new one. So the issue is that the site settings have to be migrated from the records to the part, because with 1.8 it's loading the site settings from the InfoSet, and in the site settings it says that I am the super user and that I can log into the dashboard. And because it's not already migrated, I can't access the admin, because by default when you have an admin account, when you create the first account in the setup, you are a site super user, but you are not administrator. So what I should have done before is check the administrator role for my account, and it will have worked. But or I could change the migration process so it does it automatically. But yeah, so right now I'm stuck, so I have to delete my website. So you see the issue here. I create an account. It's called admin. It will be defined in the site settings as the super user of the site, but it won't have the administrator role. So when you upgrade, it doesn't want to let you go into the admin because there is no more super user when you upgrade. This has to be fixed. The solution could be to go to the database and add your name as a super user in the XML. Another solution is to add a record to grant you the administration role. So those are some possibilities if you're stuck, but you won't. So this is the new 1.8 version, and if I it will be best because I'm running Skype and link and everything and screen sharing, so it's kind of slow, but you will see the difference with the mini profiler. So if I go in the dashboard, everything is the same, but if I enable mini profiler here, and I will also disable the cache module, demo. So this is same website. Okay, F5. So this is pretty fast actually, and only 19% of the time is spent during the request is spent into SQL. Okay, 90%. If you run it today, it should be twice that number. And 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 requests on the home page. I just have one menu item, but I have the body, 3 widgets, site settings and everything. And if you sign out, there will be 1 query less, or 6 queries here, you see, because it doesn't have 6 queries only. That's pretty awesome. 6 queries to load the home page. Can someone tell me how many you need on the... So while we run the meeting, it would be nice to know how many there are with a vanilla 1.7x version, just to see the difference. It's more than, I think it's like 17 or 18 from memory instead of 6. So that's, and you see 15% of the time is in SQL, which is kind of awesome. And when you are not sharing your screen on link, you should get something like 80 milliseconds to render the page without any cache. So this is pretty fast. See, 6 queries, and those queries are very simple. You will see that, yes, they are even simpler than before because you don't need to join anything. So for instance, when it loads the page, which is maybe this one, okay, or this one of the two, this one must be the page. When it loads the page, it doesn't have to join over the body, the auto route, what else, body, auto route, the title part, so which were before joined. So it was even slower queries. Now it's just saying, give me the content item, done, nothing more. And because it says that all the parts are already loaded because they are in some property of the content item record. Okay, so this is fewer requests, and even though there are fewer requests, they are simpler. They are also even simpler requests. So this should increase the performance of the website by default, just by doing nothing. The select n plus one, some select n plus ones should disappear, just like this. It's also very fast with the blog post. I try with the blog post with lots of posts, and same thing, no more title part or body part or whatever. Yes, okay, so that's it for 1.8. So 1.7x, just to look at it, I have done some triage last week just to define what is needed for releasing 1.7.2, and if you want to help, I have triaged them. Issues, if you go to pointing 1.7x active and here, and you filter on high, what I tagged as high means need to be done right now for 172. They might not be very important, but this is what I selected to be shipped for 172. 16 bugs before 172. Okay, and the other ones are still active, but will be pushed for the next because we need to ship. Okay, so you can adopt a bug. If everyone adopts a bug, we can ship this week. Examples: customer pages do not display for anonymous users. I assume this is fixed. We have to check. Show the menu part missing from page content type. Yes, there are a few bugs when you go into the page editor. The parts might show up or not, or the expand button might not work. Taxonomy bugs. Media picker fields migration fails. Okay, there is a repro and a fix. Language problems. This one has to be checked. Lost password doesn't transmit knowns. I will do it. It's weird, but I will do it. Permissions issue to be checked because there have been some changes too. Menu item editation requires edit content permission. It looks like the same bug. Upload fails when folder has special characters to be fixed. No reference exception when importing comments. Content picker infinite redirect loop. Custom forms which saves too many things, even when you say don't save, but there is a fix included. Session expired, so maybe when we are in the media library page, we should ping using Ajax the web server, not to load the session. This one I will look into it because I updated the taxonomy module to fix this. This can be a big performance issue for websites with lots of blog posts, but that should be the same issue with auto routes. And accessing missing field or side part with dynamic throws exception. We'll see. Oh yeah, that's a shape issue. So 16 bugs to fix to ship 172. Okay. I noticed some impact. Yes, Stanley, but Piotr fixed it yesterday. You should check again. No interesting things in the comments I missed. Okay. Bertrand says he already shifted Nwazet.Commerce. So to answer Gert, all the current modules on the gallery or that you have done will still work with 1.8. You can, or if you don't want, you don't have to use this new technique. It will work because we didn't change anything. We are just upgrading some current parts to use this new technique. But it doesn't mean that the old technique doesn't work anymore. The old technique still works, and some parts of the orchard core won't be migrated. If you want to migrate, the easiest way to do it is just to use the smooth migration, which is doing like this, where is the captcha part. Well, you change your part to use retrieve only, not the this.retrieve, but just retrieve, and it will smoothly migrate all your records data to your parts. So somehow will improve the performance. But that's the minimal things that you will need to do if you wanted to migrate. But if you don't change anything. It will work. Any questions, comments, complaints? Good. Should update InfoSet base? I don't understand the question. Should we update the InfoSet based on record data? If record.
Yeah, so let's say that we are after the shift and we are using some third-party module and that uses records. So maybe it would be easier to shift to the.
That's already
host.
done.
Oh, that's already done. Okay, that's
what?
The store and retrieve helpers are already doing that. You don't read my blog, apparently. I'm shocked.
I read it, but okay.
Oh, it's not clear enough then.
So let me explain. I understand it may be complex to understand. Let me use I want a part. Where can I find the part? Here.
Bertrand, you also wrote that if there is a record and info set, so the info set will take precedence over the record, right?
Yes.
So
during read only. Look at this one.
If the property exists in the info set, then it will be that value will be taken. If the info set exists but doesn't have that property, then it will look at the record and it will copy the value that's in the record into the info set for next time.
Yep. This is a block part archive record. Okay, sorry. This is a block part record. Okay, the old one that everyone knows, and the block part itself was before that description return record the description. Now it's retrieve X a description. What it does, I will do F12 there. Okay, during the get F12, again F12, I'm going over the helpers, F12. Here it says retrieve for this part, for this record, this property. Okay, and what it does, it says, okay, give me the name of the property, and is the info set containing the name of the property as an attribute. If it doesn't have this property in the XML document, which will be the case for the old modules, it will go, okay, so then we need to get it, you see, from the record. So it will evaluate the record with the same property name and get the value from the record. And also, so it will return the value from the record because it's not in the XML document. But at the same time, it will save this value from the record into the info set. So that next time you go back to try to retrieve the value, it will say, oh, I have it, so I return it to you. I don't have to read the record again. Okay. So the first request, it will load from the record as before, and also save it as in the XML document. And during the next request, it will use the XML document only. So this is what this helper is doing.
Okay, and what about the storing the if you change the value, it will just store it in the info set, right?
And when you call store here, it will do both. It will take the value that you set, and it will store it in the XML document and inside the record.
Oh, okay.
So the only thing that you have to be careful about is if you try to access the record directly, you will have some inconsistency between what is displayed and what you save. So that's why when we do the switch, we should check for every record property that we can use directly, like every usage of this class. There should not be any usage of this class unless for querying. All the access should be done through the content part itself. So we save in both the record and the part itself. Okay. So it's a smart migration because as you are using your website, the data will be copied into the XML also. And the second time you use the same content item, it will be faster. And there will be less requests and less SQL queries and faster load. Okay, that's the smooth conversion. And you can also do that and have some migration code, which will, like I did for the info set here. Oh, I didn't show you the how it works. If you want to upgrade from 1.7.1 1.8 your content, then you will go to the upgrade module. Upgrade to 1.8, and here you see lots of buttons. They will be simplified. Okay, there will be just one button for body, one for media, and one for all those things. So when you say migrating body parts, migrating site settings, you click and it will copy all the records and so on. Same thing for the body parts. Body parts might affect hundreds of content items. So what it does, this button is some Ajax call, which will just do a batch of 50 content items on the server side. And do another request as long as there are body parts which have not been migrated. Same thing for the media, content item permissions, and you see everything like this will be migrated as a batch. So so it's like, it's not smooth, it's kind of smooth, it could be smooth, but oh, let's do it as in one shot to migrate all the data from records to the content parts directly, and you don't need to do it on the run. So that's the upgrade module. There will be fewer buttons, and when you click, it shows you the progress of the number of items it has processed. It's like the media upgrade. If you did this one, if you remember, you click on this one and it shows you the number of media it's currently processing. Same thing for this. Should be clear. And just upgrading to 1.8 should just improve your website performance. I won't say dramatically because it depends on each usage, but it will. Okay, so let's change the subject. Let's talk about next Harvest conference. Do you want to say something, Ilan? Have on your mind, or so?
Took me a second to unmute. Taking me a little off guard. I mean, you and I had a conversation about it just as kind of a discovery call a couple weeks ago.
Yep, and we wanted to share some thoughts
with regards to location, timing.
Yep, and frequency.
Well, okay, so I mean, just to throw it out there from a community standpoint, I've been getting emails from people, you know, asking about the next conference in the United States. When we launched the conferences, the idea was to have them on an annual basis in the calendar where people could expect it to be at that same time every year. Location was always planned to rotate. And when we launched the European one, it was for a different market and to do the same. Again, cadence at the same period of time and change the location within the continent. So we clearly missed the September conference this year, which would have replicated the Santa Monica date of last year for the United States market, or for the North American market, excuse me. So right now we are pretty decided that the next one will be in the United States and will take place in Seattle. The date, or in Redmond, excuse me, again, so near but not in.
The airport is in Seattle.
That's right. And we have not set a date. Sebastian was looking into some things which I have not yet heard back from our benevolent dictator about. But that's generally where we are in terms of sharing information with the community about our plans for the next conference. So, is there any questions, any comments, any feedback on that from anybody who's attending here?
So main info is that. So do you agree with the Seattle location? I assume yes. I think it's good for different points. For marketing, because I'm sure some of you would like. I've never been to the campus, and that will be a good. Yeah, Bertrand is happy because he lives in Bellevue, and that will be good for you because if you have never been to the campus, that's an occasion to come on the campus and to see how Microsoft works and where it is, and have some good time here. And because it's a Microsoft technology product, that makes sense. Okay. In terms of financing, I hope it could be cheaper to organize, because maybe Microsoft will say, okay, we will handle the cost for the catering, or we'll give you the conference room and everything, which then we won't have to pay this year. So that might, and well, we will still have the same amount of money to spend, so that means a bigger party or better food. I don't know. We'll see. This is also important, I think, because we could have more Microsoft employees to join, and we could have a more broad kind of speakers, like to talk about, I don't know, any HTML thing or Visual Studio integration or any kind of side talk that we could have.
Going again, just similarly to what we did in Europe, is expanding the conversation around the ecosystem and the different topics that touch upon Orchard, where Orchard still remains central, but not being completely engulfed on Orchard. So Orchard is a framework, and here are the various topics of interest for people who are leveraging Orchard.
Yeah, for those who were at Amsterdam, I'm sure you all liked the one from
the responsive designs from Bind Tuning.
Yeah.
And
what's her name?
From Hello Agency, the case study, and those were two very well received.
Yeah, and even from Steve Taylor.
Yes, Steve Taylor's MV frameworks as well.
Yeah, so it was interesting to see and it was just about the technology. It was also, it works with Orchard, and how they were using Orchard with that. So that might be interesting to have some Microsoft experts to give some talks. Well, that's a possibility. So today the thing is on.
We're happy to announce that it's going to be happening this weekend. So hopefully you guys can all join us.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't know about the date yet. So if you have some preferences or some suggestions, you can do it now or later. Should be at least 3 days. Another expansion could be to make it longer in the way that we could have some how do you say that, panels before or after the conference, like training.
Training seminars that will be specifically targeted to various levels of Orchard users. So we're working on some educational seminars that would either be preceding or directly post the event. So kind of bookcasing the event. And we think that might sort of like an Orchard camp, 1 day prior or half day prior or right after. So we're going to work on that as well.
Plus one for springtime. Spring in Seattle comes around July. And before it's just raining and maybe some snow, so don't hope spring. Okay, so no comments?
But around February actually allows for skiing.
That could be the opposite. So instead of trying to have the chance to have some sunshine, let's be sure that we have some snow.
Yeah, just embrace it.
And you can take some more days to go skiing during the weekend, and Bertrand will explain you where to go.
Yeah, I'll come with you actually.
To do some sled.
We also shared some, we were sharing some thoughts about how to expand the board concept. So wanted to get some feedback. Part of the hesitancy, but that I have around this is that it's the community, or at least those that attend on a weekly basis, are still so developer focused. But from where we are in our maturation process as a framework, as a product, it would be good to involve a broader group of people outside of the board and potentially set up satellite committees that are sort of brain trusts around particular important projects, not specifically development projects, but projects around PR and marketing, projects around conferences, or potentially even more so community building, and fostering sort of a program or constructing a program around community building. So one of the things that was most successful about Drupal was the amount of aggressive, and I mean that in a good way, very local camps that they did, and still do, frankly, all over the globe. That really, really drove adoption. People were shown how to use the product, and that really drove adoption. So, potentially getting a committee around that. It can't be done by one person. It's just too hard. too much time. These things can be full-time, but a couple of people working together where they meet every 2 weeks or even every month, you know, for a 1-hour call and sort of set some really low-hanging fruit goals and bring those back to the committee so we can sort of help, adjust, foster is something that we had talked about. So if anybody's interested in that, we'd love to hear about it. And whether that's somebody here attending today or somebody who's going to be watching this video at a later time. Is there a particular email, Sebastian, that they should reach out about a topic that they might be interested in building a committee around?
There's an email on the homepage, the main email, contact email. I don't remember. I never use it. I received email orchardproject.net. If you go Orchard, if you go to discussion and help, and there is an email somewhere, orchardfeedback@outercurve.org.
Who gets that email?
Me.
Okay.
I think that's where, because I receive some emails every day about stuff. Usually I can connect your website. Yes, that's normal. You're not supposed to connect to the website. But I think that should still work, unless Eric broke it this weekend.
That I did not break. I broke the but I fixed that since then. Yes.
So this is the one to contact and to ask any question. Usually so people submit when they have new websites or when they're stuck on something on the website, or if they have questions, or if they want me to pay something, or if we want a better SEO on our website too. We also send mails there. Yeah.
One other thought is, instead of emailing it to one person, putting it on the discussion forums, because then you get a little bit more, kind of people hear that someone's interested in doing, like, say, PR, and then they're gonna be like, oh yeah, I definitely want to do PR. Like, so that's another way of doing it. There are advantages to both, though. So.
Yep. Well, we could start a thread on the forum if you want, Ilan. That's hard to do.
Yeah. What's interesting here is that no one's really speaking up, and
well, you and Eric are the only non-developers, I think, in the list, and maybe Eric is developing too. So you are 1.5 non-developers. You're kind of alone. I assume everyone here is a developer on Orchard. Yeah. So let's start the thread, at least on the forum, maybe if you want. But same thing, I don't think people, non-developer users, read the forum either. Gert had a question about last week's video. My bad, I have it on my hard drive. I need to publish it. Yeah, anything to wrap up the conference discussions, and then after we'll try to start on organizing the European one. We are not on a 1 per year schedule. It's like more like 1.5 years right now. Also because we don't have hundreds of members, but it will come at some point. We'll have so many users that we can even have more than just 1 or 2 conferences a year. That's what Drupal has today. They have like 2 or 3 worldwide conferences and all over the world. And every time it's thousands of people coming. It will come. We are not far from having all the modules we want in our chart to finish it, and then we can start a new project. So, and also do some PR stuff. And well, I have had some interesting, yeah, for you, Ilan, interesting, because you are asking for that. Jabber last week, Chris Pyle said that it could help. Maybe they will find time to provide a design for orchardproject.net to do the website. so they would like to help. So that would be good.
That would be great.
And they do great stuff on our channel, so this will be cool.
Okay.
Can trust them.
You want to meet about that
Chris
later this
Pine.
week?
We could ask him if he wants to schedule something. It was just an idea, so nothing is done, nothing is scheduled. But
sure, but if somebody
they have the will
puts
to
that out
that.
there,
So,
you put it on the calendar. Otherwise, it goes away.
yeah. Okay, let's put it on the calendar. Next time I see him on Jabber, I will ask him. Good.
I would make the same ask of our friends in South Africa at Hello Agency if they're interested. I know that it's hard for them to attend, but maybe they're watching the weekly,
Yeah, they are pretty busy, so maybe that's why they can't help right now.
Okay.
I have one website on my list, swapper.net, discussion forum search engine made in our channel. I think I've seen that ago, so I'm not sure it's new. Piotr, what's that?
It's pretty old.
Okay, so let's forget about it. It appeared in my list. Also with the Seattle event, that will be just in time to have some nice case studies from Microsoft that will be done by that time. So that will be also great to have them at least have one huge case study on the Microsoft website. Yeah, that would be good. And some of the people in the list here are working indirectly for this website. They will recognize themselves, but they don't know who the client is. That's fun. I know everything. Nobody knows. Okay, triaging or something. So someone else has something to add on the agenda? Questions? Why is our chart so wonderful and dance puppets dance? Yeah. Triaging. I will just look at the new ones because I have gone through all the active ones to prioritize them on 172. So I will just go their issues and look at the new ones if there are some of them that should make it in 172. So proposed for all. So the idea here is that there is one proposed for 17x. That's weird. Let me change that so we don't miss it. Okay, update today. Let's start with this one. I just changed. Use condition on strip required is applied to all dependencies as well. Okay. So I put it on 17x, but as I don't put an impact high, this won't make it for 172. Okay. Select for tax and midterm token. VS can detect extension methods. Simon, what's the issue? Works for me.
Oh, it's probably the issue with MVC3. It's not supported on Visual Studio 2013.
Yep, that's exactly the issue.
Sorry. Missing pages in dashboard, same thing, it's not a bug. So to be able to see the content items in the content page, the content list, you need the command part, okay? So this is sad, but it's not important. Why would you disable the workflow module? But it's still a bug, so we'll check. We'll check for that. Showing tenant name in login, that's a duplicate.
The previous one, the thing is that the problem is very hard to recover from.
Yeah, that's why it's still a bug. It should, yes, it should not break or turn. If you disable it, yeah.
Didn't I?
Yeah.
Did I do a pull request on this one?
Yes, and 14 votes up.
Well, he did it pretty much this. No, he did it differently than me.
I'm not sure. Is it some solution here?
No, yeah, that's not. That's too expensive.
What? When something? Dun, dun, dun. So this is a solution? Okay. No, this is some actual code, actual current code, just to show that if it happens there, it doesn't have the tenant name. That's it. There is no solution. Your solution is still the best one we've found so far. I have had a partial solution, which was better than yours, but yours is more complete. Okay, so I will assign Sipke to push your changes. Okay, Sipke?
Fine. Is this not the just basically the IAM window? Sorry, that's my connection.
No, I just said because you are the last one to comment on Brett's pull request and bug, because I saw that, and you told him it should be done in 1.7.2 because it's open and whatever, and because you have write access to the repository, I say you will do it. And because you have nothing to do.
That's true.
It's not like you were paid right now or have work to do, so
thank you.
It should be easy, just pull request. It's not even a pull, I don't know, yeah, maybe just a few changes, and I will assess the perf impact to see if there is a perf impact, and okay, let's do that. I haven't been able to find a better solution, so let's take this solution. So this should be fixed soon. If infinite loop of emails with custom form workflows.
Yeah. Just give me, honey, we're still doing it.
Private discussions, want to know if we remember. Yeah, it should work. Not
isn't it? Because there was probably is an event on the content created or something like that.
Yeah, but why an infinite loop?
Weird.
Type customization for taxonomies. Oh, yeah, I remember this one. Yeah, so we can customize display type for projections, which is really good feature. So it's a mix of ideas here, and it was not clear. So projections, you can have layouts where you define the display type. Okay, projections have layouts where you can define display. I really think the feature should be added to taxonomies also. So the idea when I read that is that when you display a taxonomy, you want to select which display type you want to use, which actually is just, okay, display type like summary or detail. Okay, and if it's an option, it must be on the list of the content items that you browse while you are on a taxonomy. Okay, but if it is that, then why not use a projection to list your taxonomy terms? Sorry, to list your items for a specific what? For a specific taxonomy term, yes. So you can already do a projection for that. We could also think about this issue being that you want to customize from the taxonomy term how to render the content items, so you don't have to create a new view because there is already a view, so let's configure it. And I think it's Zoltan who suggested that we could use projections for more things. I would not disagree if projections were not so not fast today, because when you load the projection, it has to go through 5 tables and then construct the query and execute the query. So if everything was based on projections, it will make our chart very slow by default. So maybe a first step would be to optimize the projection serialization to just have one query, and even better to have a cached query to load the projection filters and everything. And then we could see if we could use, I think it's done like this in Drupal for most of the things, where you have views in Drupal to display things, even taxonomy items. So that might be a second step. So I'm keeping it active for a future version because it needs some changes. Was I clear? Okay, and because we are at October 30, I will stop the triage because I already kind of triaged all the important things. We still need to open or close all the other ones, but for 172 it's done. A low persistence of change made using managed placement. Oh, we need import export, that's it. done with triaging for 172 because the target here is just 172. Okay, we'll do some more later. It's 1:15 lunchtime. Any last minute comment, question? If not, we'll see each other next week. Okay? Thank you guys.
Bye.
See you next
See
week.
you next week.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
See ya.